Welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. The North Texas PodConnect is a revolutionary way to network that combines the best of traditional networking with the power of the digital world. By utilizing the power and reach of radio, live streaming, and podcasting, and by leveraging the Difference Media LLC's expansive audience of over 4 million viewers and listeners, PodConnect enables professionals to connect with like-minded individuals, share knowledge and experiences, and build personal brands through a unique approach that opens doors to new opportunities, business relationships, consumers, and community leaders. So, sit back, relax, and turn up the volume as some of PodConnect's charter members discuss the impact networking through podcasting has had on helping them grow and expand their businesses. Because PodConnect starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. You know, our goal is always to revolutionize your networking experience live. Podcast. I want to help you explode your brand, level up your business, stay relevant in your community. If you want to know how to be a part of what we're doing, you can check out the North Texas PodConnect Facebook page, or you can text myself or Lendon Wilson. Our numbers will flash up plenty of times over the next hour and 15 minutes. Or you can also check out the Difference Media LLC website at thedifferenceradio.com. We are on episode 11. We have had 2 fantastic months of very pertinent topics that will help you level up your business, from looking at risk management to funding of your business. Jim Thomas, who will also be on the show with us again today, did a fantastic job. And what you'll find is, as we go through the topic this month, for the rest of the month, it's really going to tie together nicely, and you'll see the importance of everything that we talk about. And so we always here at PodConnect, as our co-hosts that are part of PodConnect, are utilizing this live stream, this podcast, as a networking experience. We want to also produce and provide content that is going to be right to the point of what you need to get your business to the next level, or where you're struggling, right? So as you're watching, as you're sharing the show on all the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere that the Difference Radio, now on the Difference website, as you're watching all these, feel free to comment, ask questions. We want to know what you want to know so we can get those questions answered for you and provide the right content, the right people that are experts in that area. But in this episode, we're going to unravel the mysteries, and I use the word intentionally, of business credit. I think everybody's pretty familiar with personal credit, how important that is. But there are some burning questions that people have about business credit. Namely, what is it? Right? Does it really matter? Can your company survive without it? And probably most importantly, are your competitors taking advantage of it, and giving them that extra boost that they have over you, because they can now work towards self-funding and other credit lines, etc. And so what are the advantages that they have over you because you're not exercising building your business credit? And so as we dive in today, Lendon Wilson, who has been in that industry, been in a lot of different industries, for just a wealth of knowledge, but specifically about business credit. Now, Lendon, of course, you'll recognize, he produces not only the PodConnect show, he produces all of our community shows. He's the brainchild of the Difference Media LLC. And so he's going to share with us today and attempt to produce the show at the same time. So hopefully that will go well, and we'll see how everything goes there. So if without further ado, let's bring in Lendon Wilson. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, doing fantastic. Excited to have you. I think this topic is going to be very pertinent to really any small business owner. I'm also excited to see you be an expert in the topic and also do all the producing in the background. So we'll see how
that works.
So if something goes wrong, it's someone else's fault. It's not Lendon's fault, because he's
Absolutely.
our topic expert today.
Absolutely.
So before we dive in, let's bring in our guests. We've got a couple of fantastic guests today that are actually from the Wiley Community Difference show. They're part of the networking, the Master Networks group there, and they're also part of the Wiley show. Let's bring in Tara. Good morning. Tara, how are you doing today? I think you're on mute. There. And let's bring in everybody at the same time, Lendon. Let's just bring in all our wonderful guests this morning. We'll start with Dallas. I think Tara's having some muting issues. So Dallas, the tech doctor, welcome. Give us like 10 seconds about you, what you do, and then we'll jump back to Tara.
Good
There we
morning,
go.
Nathan. Good morning, Lendon. I'm Dallas Jones. My company used to be Dallas Tech Doctor, hence the Tech Doctor moniker. And I own Rementus, which is a technology IT firm, and we also do digital conversion of old memories.
That's fantastic. Tara, what about you?
I am back in business now. Sorry about that, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me. I am Tara Padilla, owner and operator of Texan Window Cleaning. We are your community, residential and commercial, all throughout the DFW, window cleaners, gutter cleaners, pressure washers, solar panel cleaners, as well as Christmas light installers, all throughout the DFW Metroplex.
Well, that's pretty important coming up with Christmas season just around the horizon. It won't be any time. It's probably already happened. There's probably Christmas stuff in stores. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, there is.
Crazy. So, and then of course our resident business expert on all things, specifically business funding, did a phenomenal job. Our first 4 or 5 episodes in, I want to say, was it July? Yeah, July. The great Jim Thomas. Jim, good morning to you, sir.
It's great to be here. Thank you much. And to capsule it for folks, we can help with funding for pre-revenue startups for folks that are just getting into business, don't have the revenue coming in. And then for folks that are already in business, and this is a little bit a different way to approach it, but we can actually help with business funding as well, which will be a little bit different than what Lendon will be talking about. So it'll be a good conversation today.
Well, speaking of Lendon, let's dive right in, and thank you very much, Jim. I think everybody knows what their personal credit is, and I'm assuming that they're probably okay. Well, it has to be business credit, has to be business or credit for your business, obviously. But what exactly is that? And give us the differences between business credit and personal credit. Let's just start there with kind of a definition.
Okay, well, I mean, as you said, Nathan, most everybody knows what their personal credit is. And it is a credit file that you've been building since the first time that you got access to credit using your social security number. And the thing that I want to make very clear today is that you only get one personal credit file. You will never get another. There's no way to build another. You have no legal way to build another. Let me put it that way. I see it done all the time, but it is very, very risky. So there is only one personal credit file assigned to your social security number. Business credit, on the other hand, is a lot like personal credit. You build a file based on an EIN number, which is a business social security number. But there's a lot of components that go along with that. What's great about business credit, if you have bad credit, if you have marginal credit personally, you can establish business credit as a new file and create a business credit file if you pay everything on time without blemish, right? So let's just say that you had gone through something sort of catastrophic and your personal credit file had taken a hit and you had a low credit score. By the time you repaired your personal credit, you could have built business credit and have access to way more funding and way more opportunities, which we'll get into more. I want to remind everybody that this is a 3-part series. And next week, we're going to talk in more. I'll talk about that later. But that's really what business credit is, okay? And when you're talking about, when I've talked to businesses before, you kind of touched on it at the beginning, Nathan. The 2 questions I always get, whether it's a startup or whether it's a business that's been in business for a while, does it matter? And is it necessary? And so I want to go through that real quick if I can. And then if y'all have any questions, it only matters if you're concerned about protecting your personal assets, right? It's only necessary if you are focused on protecting your personal assets and the opportunities that you have to provide for your family. So that's number one, why it's necessary or why it's relevant. Number 2, it only matters if you care about the valuation of your business. And we'll talk about that more as we go through today. A valuation of a business is important if you have some other goals, right? Do you ever want to retire? Do you ever want to sell? Because personal credit kind of complicates an issue of selling a business later. Okay. It also enables access to cheaper working capital. Okay. When you're talking about getting business funding, and Jim can chime in on that as well. The opportunities to get that with business credit and get a more favorable term, you have a better opportunity if you have a business credit file than if you have a personal credit file. And then the other thing is, if you are concerned about the credibility, stability, and the perceived value of your business, right? So are you a business or are you a self-employed revenue stream? Those are two important factors. But it's only really relevant if you're looking down the road into the future about a financial legacy and how you're going to, what your exit strategy would be with that particular business.
I think even if you're not thinking about that now, like for instance, for us, we don't necessarily want to sell our business in the future now, but our minds might change in the future. So that was one of the things that I started thinking about whenever I was speaking with someone about this business credit is, I don't know exactly where our end game is. So it's important to go ahead and get it established so that if you decide to do that, you do have that to fall back on, rather than everything being in your personal name and you're having to figure out how to switch all of that over and prove your numbers and stuff like that.
Exactly. One of the things I've got written down here, Tara, is it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
100%.
And it takes, there's a certain time frame that you have to go through to, just like with your personal credit, right? You've got to have some history. And so the sooner you start, the sooner you get to where you want to be. And
Absolutely.
So even if you don't have a clue about what you're going to do with your business in 5 years, if you think you're going to do that forever, it would be better to go ahead because you're already buying stuff for your business now.
Right.
So I'm going to give you another example, just as an added benefit of why business credit can be so impactful. Let's say that you establish business credit and you get a credit card in the business name that has travel rewards. How much money are you spending using that credit card every month for your business versus what you would be doing for yourself personally? Right? Your expenses for business could be 20, 30, 40, 50,000, maybe more.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Let's hope they're not that much unless you're making a lot of money, right? So those are the things that I think that, we're going to be talking about over the next 3 weeks, that it's not only is it necessary, but there's perks to having it that we're all missing out on. One is tax benefits, and I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to go deep into that, but we will talk about some opportunities for that. And all that, more of the details are coming next week.
Awesome. So one question that I'm sure a lot of viewers may have is, are there any drawbacks? Is there any reason not to establish business credit?
My personal opinion would be no. I mean, let me ask this. Is there any reason why you couldn't use more money or more access to more money? It's more to manage, Dallas. That's one thing, right? So, you've got your personal finances. Now you've got your business finances. Commingling the two can create more problems that you have to fix down the road than having two different files. But I mean, that's a great question. And mine would always be, again, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So even, and Jim and I have talked about this on the show with Nathan, having access to business funding and going ahead and securing that line of credit while you're eligible to do it, while you're qualified, even if you don't use it right now, it's a safety net, right? And that's one of the things that business credit offers is a safety net.
So, when we were talking with Jim, he was talking about some of the loans that he can do, 680 credit score and all three credit bureaus, $50,000 up to $400,000, I think is what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. But that's utilizing your personal credit as a starting point to launch a business or possibly obtain more capital later on. But you're saying you can use your business credit for that capital later on. So you talked about, you can only have one personal credit file, but you let it, I think you alluded to having different business credit accounts or different lines of credit available. Can you talk more about that?
Great question, Nathan. What I'm talking about there is, and I don't want to really put the cart before the horse, because I want to talk about that with a scenario that I have later on in this show.
Okay.
And it basically is going to be comparing two businesses, exact same business, one with personal credit, using their personal credit, and one using business credit. And when I'm looking at business credit, one of the things that I'm always thinking about as a business owner, and Jim's touched on this before about your risk management, right? I think that not enough businesses go and they look at certain opportunities or certain risk as hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Most of us are just hoping for the best. We're not really prepared for the worst, as Stephen Pine kind of went through that 1 month that he did risk management, right? We leave a lot of doors unlocked, and it creates a huge risk. And having a business credit file along with a good personal credit file gives you wiggle room if something goes wrong. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples now. Let's say that you've got a business owner that goes through a divorce. Everything in that business is under the personal credit of both spouses. What happens to the business?
I guess it depends.
It's under the personal credit, you said?
It's under personal credit, right?
It probably gets split up or dissolved or something.
Exactly.
Not good.
It can make it a bigger challenge than if it is under an LLC. Now, if both spouses are in that LLC, you're kind of in the same ballpark, right? You're still going to have to divide, sell.
So don't share your LLC with your spouse. That's the.
It's too late for that.
Just kidding. I'm kidding, babe. If you're listening, I would never not do that.
So let's go to another scenario.
Well, hey, before we hit that, Linda, let's go to our first commercial because I want to tease that other scenario. Because I know when we get back, we're about to talk about too. Like I know a lot of people are thinking, okay, that sounds good. What are the steps that I take to actually start the business credit building process? So when we come back, give us that other scenario and then walk us through the initial steps to start with this. So stick around. We'll get right to that when we hop back here on the North Texas PodConnect. We'll see you back here in just a second.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, Livestream, and Podcast Network possible.
Texas Edge Insurance. We're more than just an insurance company. We're your partners in protection. We understand that every person and every business is unique. That's why we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach to insurance. We work with you to create a customized insurance plan that meets your specific needs. And we're always here to help you, no matter what. We offer a wide range of insurance products. We also work with over 30 insurance companies to find you the best possible coverage. So what are you waiting for? Contact Texas Edge Insurance today. Visit our website or give us a call at 817-406-2929 to get a free quote today. Introducing Bankroll Media, a digital marketing partner designed to take your business to the next level. At Bankroll Media, we are a team of creative and innovative marketers that works with mortgage loan officers, realtors, many e-commerce businesses, and much more. At Bankroll Media, we're different because you're different. We get it, and that's why we're here. We're not your typical marketing agency. We don't believe in cookie-cutter solutions or one-size-fits-all approaches. We believe in building relationships with our clients and understanding their unique needs. We want to understand your business inside and out so that we can create marketing campaigns that are tailored to your specific needs. From social media management, lead generation, web design to content creation and SEO, even email marketing. Bankroll Media can do it all. Bankroll Media, building presence, connecting ideas.
Are you worried about your retirement? Do you want to make sure you have enough money to live comfortably? Do you want to protect your assets from taxes? If so, then you need to talk to Smart Safe Retirement. We are a team of experienced financial advisors who can help you create a retirement plan that is right for you. We will work with you to understand your needs and goals, and then we will develop a plan that will help you achieve them. We will also help you protect your assets from taxes so you can keep more of what you earn. Don't wait any longer. Call Smart Safe Retirement today and start planning for your future. We can help you secure your financial future and enjoy a worry-free retirement. Call us today at 469-233-9127.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the North Texas PodConnect. Right before the break, Lendon, you were sharing with us a couple of examples, and we're going to jump right into, hey, what are some of the steps you can take to start establishing business credit? So give us that other example, because I think that really.
Well, we don't want to jump the gun, Nathan. The steps are coming next week. That's kind of what our topic is for the second week, right?
So it's a little more complex than that. Okay, it sounds like it should be.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. The thing that I want to make sure that we're getting across to everybody right now is the significance of doing this. Because as we all have been business owners, and we all know business owners that know there are opportunities out there for us to level up our business, but we don't take them because a lot of times we just don't understand the value behind it and why we should put in a little bit more attention and a little bit more effort in being able to do that. And one of the things I want to make sure we're clear of today is how much value this adds to your business in the event that you want or need to sell it, or that you need access to capital.
Lendon, there was a question before break, and I don't remember the exact wording, but it was along the lines of, this one.
So,
You see the more established and better your business credit is, it removes the need for a personal guarantee when borrowing money. And that's the goal, right?
That's the whole goal,
yeah.
Right? What you want to be able to do is you want to establish business credit in a way that it does not put your personal assets and your family at risk should something happen.
Absolutely.
Example, you get a second mortgage on your home to buy equipment, operating capital, whatever it is. COVID happens again. We get shut down. You can't make your mortgage payment. Your business is suffering, so you don't have revenue coming in, but now your personal credit score is starting to decline because of missed payments or late payments. And now if revenue starts to increase again, but you still need to borrow money, you can't do it because you have ruined your personal credit. The only thing that you had to help sustain your growth. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely.
Our goal is to establish business credit completely separate from our personal credit file, so that any collateral we use is through the business. Any signature, guarantor, anything is through that LLC, whatever it may be, and your EIN number.
Right.
Now, again, that doesn't happen.
Basically, they won't need your social security number, because anytime they actually use your social security number, it's personally guaranteed.
You
correct?
are personally guaranteed. Now, here's the other thing, and this is what we're going to go through next week. In a lot of cases, when you go to get, even if you've got, and Dallas mentioned this before, and I don't want to get ahead of what we're going to be talking about, but your DUNS number, if you've done all the things you need to do to create the entity you have to have in order to get business credit, many lenders will still ask for a personal guarantee.
Well, the way I see it, Lendon, it's kind of like, remember, well, it's been a long time, but remember when we were like 16, 17, 18 and getting our driver's license, and then we went to go get our first car, and you go to the dealership and they say, well, you need a cosigner because you don't have enough credit established. So what did we do? We went to our parents, we went to aunts, uncles, older friends who had good credit. We're like, hey, can you co-sign for me on this loan? So when you first start out as a business, having that personal guarantee attached is kind of like your co-signer.
You're co-signing for yourself.
Now that we're a lot further along in life, we don't need cosigners anymore because we've established our own credit. In the same way, the goal is for your business to establish enough credit. You start out with that cosigner, but then you work on building that credit so that eventually you as a person doesn't need to cosign for the business anymore.
100%. You hit the nail on the head. And that's exactly what it's like. And so with what Jim Thomas does in offering business funding, Jim has a lot of opportunities for you to get business funding with a personal guarantee. And I'm not saying that that's bad. The majority of businesses out there, especially the smaller businesses, not the large corporations, are funding their business through their own personal credit. And so that is an opportunity that you have. So using what Jim Thomas offers, along with your EIN number and tying those together, is, Dallas, kind of those first steps to establishing independent business credit. You may have to co-sign for yourself and for your business for a few cycles in terms of loans before you have that done score, before you have the Paydex score, before you have the Experian and Equifax business scores that will allow you to independently borrow money just through your business without a personal guarantee. Now, there are a lot of vendors out there that will allow that through an EIN. That's another way that you start building it. And I'm getting way ahead into next week, which I don't want to do. I want to keep focusing on the value of this first. Let me see.
Real quick, Lendon, you got a question here. How is business credit different than a line of credit? And from what I understand, you're saying it's going to help you be able to qualify for a line of credit, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So business credit and a line of credit are really two separate things, right? Business credit is how you get the line of credit. Personal credit is how you get the line of credit. It just depends on who's responsible for that line of credit, right? Do you want to risk your wife and kids and your personal assets to fund your business? A lot of times we have to, if we don't know that we don't have to. Does that make sense? That's what I'm trying to help everybody understand today. There is another option out there that allows you to not only do what you're doing now, but do it more favorably and create an asset within your business other than just the business. Give you another example. Again, is it necessary? Nathan, Tara, Dallas, Jim, think about this. If I get ready to sell a business and all I have is that business tied up with my personal credit, let's say I'm debt free, but everything that I've done is through my personal credit, right? There's going to be a valuation placed on that business. But what if I'm selling my business and I have a $500,000 line of credit that goes with that LLC or corporation when it's sold?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not know that. That's some good information.
Yeah,
what's
the
going to look more
$500,000 would be
attractive?
more attractive.
Yeah,
sure.
It's going to be way more attractive. Way more attractive. Looking at the other side of it, let's say that I'm trying to sell my business. It's a profitable business, but I've got $250,000 worth of debt tied to my own Social Security number. And maybe my house has been used as collateral. Is that more favorable to someone buying than independent debt that is owed and owned by the business? I'll explain to you what I'm saying. Tara, if I'm coming to buy your business and you've got $60,000, $70,000 of business debt that's tied to your personal credit, I'm probably going to ask you to eat that debt.
Yeah. So for the buyer, it's a win, but for the seller, it's a complete loss.
Exactly. And I see that all the time. I see trying to negotiate and they go, I'm not taking on your debt. That's in your name.
Right.
First of all, it can't be transferred.
Yeah, you can't sell your own debt or your own reputation as credit. But if you sell your business and your business has that credit and that reputation, then that reputation, good, bad, or otherwise, gets to go with your business. So it's important to establish that business credit so that your business is worth more in evaluation, and to also maintain it so that the business has a good credit reputation.
Yeah.
Well, we see that all the time when businesses get absorbed with another business or bought out or whatnot. They, even if they're, have been ran poorly and they have a lot of creditors or debtors that they owe, if that company feels like there's still a positive evaluation here, they'll still eat that debt because they feel like they can turn it around. But that's because it's tied to that business. So if it wasn't, just like you said, well, now you're selling your business and you're still in the hole from the debt that you have because you tied it to your personal credit line.
You lose a lot of negotiating power when you're in that
Sure.
position. A lot of times you're like, well, I'm going to sell my business, for enough that I can pay off that debt. And now it's gone, but you're really not realizing that profit, right? You're just paying off debt. But then the buyer of it is looking at it like, why should I pay an extra $50,000 when I don't have to? I'm just not going to buy that particular business when I can go buy another one cheaper without having to cover debt.
So we do have a good question from a Facebook user. And Lendon, you mentioned a couple of things, but they asked, who can check your business credit, and can suppliers run this or a company as they're deciding to do business with me?
Man, that's a great question.
I know that there's Dun and Bradstreet, your Dun score. You also mentioned Paydex and a couple of things, but go ahead and expand on that.
So let's go to break real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go to break and answer that on the other side of the break.
There you go.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Are you looking for new or more reliable and affordable home services? Look no further than Utility Connect. At Utility Connect, we understand that every customer is different. Thanks to our partnership with The Difference, our free concierge service seamlessly shops all of your utilities and services for your home or business with one easy phone call. So what are you waiting for? Call Utility Connect today and experience the difference. For more information, give us a call at 469-414-2033 or visit us at www.utilityconnect.net/thedifference to learn more.
Are you a business owner looking to grow your company? Get fast, easy financing up to $5 million with no minimum FICO score required. Apply in 60 seconds and get funded in 24 hours. Call Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 to talk to a financing professional today. Your business's future is waiting. So don't delay. Call now and tell him that you saw him on The Difference.
And now back to the show.
Jim, I'm
Welcome back.
I'm going to need that $5 million loan.
Hey, that's good. I like that. That's instant business from your commercial, Jim.
Right.
Welcome back, guys. Right before the break, we had a great comment. Can your business credit, and Dallas, you brought this to our attention, so thank you. Who can check your business credit? Can my suppliers run this, or a company as they're deciding to do business with me?
Yes, they can. And they don't always do it. Some of them do. But when you're looking at certain vendors, they are going to, most of them, again, I'll backtrack a little bit. Most vendors, most lenders are going to ask for personal guarantee, even if you have established business credit. It doesn't mean that you can't reject that request. Okay, understand what I'm talking about. If you understand the businesses out there, the lenders out there that will loan on business credit only, that's who you need to be going for. We're going to talk about that next week. One of the giveaways that we're going to give away here in about 30 minutes in that roadmap, it has a list of vendors, it has a list of lenders and what their requirements are in order to qualify for what they offer. It has in there whether they require personal guarantee along with business credit. It has in there whether they require personal guarantee, no business credit. And then it has the ones that will allow you to apply and qualify with business credit only. But I'm going to tell you this little tip right now. If you don't know better, they're all going to ask for a personal guarantee. Anybody want to take a guess on why that is? It double secures the loan.
Yep.
You now have jeopardized and put both your business and your personal assets as risk and responsibility for that loan. If something goes wrong, you get hit in two different places. So being able to understand this and being able to go, it's just like when you're doing personal credit, okay? Let's say that you have a credit score that's less than perfect and you need to buy a car. I did personal credit repair for 20 years. When I would talk to people about going to buy a car, I'm like, you need to call them and find out what bureau they run credit from, because car dealers don't always run 3 bureaus. They usually just run one. 3 bureaus cost more money. So if you have a terrible Equifax score and they pull Equifax, don't go to that dealership, right? If you have a great TransUnion score, terrible Equifax, and they pull TransUnion, go to that store. Same thing with business credit. You need to understand what lenders do what and where and what the qualifications are, because that gives you negotiating power when it's time for you to apply and try to qualify for a loan. So to answer that question, if you have a business credit score, anybody can check it that wants to check it.
You can't personally check it yourself, though, correct?
You can. It costs money.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you can. And it's recommended. That's going to be part of what we talk about next week, is how to do that, right? How to follow up and go through that. It's not as you don't, like you can do the credit monitoring for your 3 credit bureaus on your personal. You don't really have that for business. You have to pay for it.
Right.
And it could be, $100 a month, which if you are leveraging credit often, then that's a small investment for being able to know where you stand today and avoid being declined.
Gotcha.
Tara, I know that you, in the pre-show, we were talking, and one of the things that I was thinking about is, as far as like, what are some common mistakes that people make when they're starting to establish business credit? I know we're going to dive into that on later shows as well, but you had mentioned, like, very recently, just something that you had learned personally that was very appropriate to our topic today. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing, do you mind just give us a little bit of insight to some of those things?
Yeah, sure. So I had a conversation with actually 2 different people in the last couple of weeks that help you and guide you through the business credit. I've been blessed with mentors up until this point that told me to get started with my DUNS number. And so I did do that, and I thought I was doing everything the right way. I thought that I was getting, I got an American Express card. I got a Chase business card. I got, what else? A Home Depot account, a Leslie's Pool Supply account. And I just assumed that it was all being reported to my business credit. Well, come to find out, I did personally guarantee almost all of those lines of credit, and none of them are actually being reported to my business credit.
Oh, no.
And like I said, I thought I was doing everything the right way. So I put in my EIN number, but when I look at my card, it has my personal name as well as the business. Now, it's not reporting on my personal credit. However, if I were to mess up and not pay it, then it would obviously report on the report.
That's a great point.
How do you avoid that, Lendon? How do you avoid that happening?
Well, that's again going back to what I was just saying. You got to understand what account you're applying for, and you've got to ask the right questions. Will this be reported to my credit file?
And check it.
Yeah,
and check it, right? Because I just assumed that it was all being reported. Now, from what I'm learned, and I'm no expert, so please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, but your business credit is from 0 to 100, correct?
That's correct.
Rather than your personal credit is the 350 to 850. And so, for instance, my business credit, when I looked at, or when it was, my score was given to me last week was a 53, which to me, I'm like, okay, I haven't been doing everything right. I'm at a 53. That's still like, I'm still halfway, right? But had all of the things that I had been doing up until this point been on there, I am sure that I would probably be up to an 80 at this point. And they recommend you being up to, I think, an 80 to get the funds that you need.
Yep. You're exactly right. There are two different ways that it's scored, and it is 0 to 100. 80 is that sweet spot to where you can start doing things without a personal guarantee. And one of the things that people don't realize is that your bank account plays no role in your personal credit score, but it does play a role and does impact your business credit score. Right. So in
your business bank account.
Yeah, your business bank account. Right. Exactly. You have to have a business bank account in order to start building business credit. You have to establish, and I'm getting way ahead, but I want to go ahead and touch on this a little bit. We'll do more detail next week. You have to have a truly legitimate, established business. You can't do it as a sole proprietor. You have to be incorporated. You have to have a business bank account. You have to have a business address. You cannot use your home address.
Wow.
You have to have a business address. All of those factors come into play. If you've had any insufficiency within your bank, in your business bank, that will impact your paydex score. There are a lot of factors that go into play with this. Now, I don't want to scare everybody and go, oh my God, this is too complicated. It's just easier to be a sole proprietor and, easier. Yes. More risky. Yes, that's true too.
Way more risky.
Sellable at some point? Probably not. There's not a lot of people out there that buy sole proprietors. Right. There's no value in them. So you have to look at where you want to go and what you want to build, and look at, again, as your business credit file and the fact that you have established a real functional business, you're not just self-employed with a revenue stream. You have something you can sell that does not need you in order for it to have value. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That makes perfect sense. And that's kind of an important point. I mean, a lot of people are tuning into this and they're curious about, maybe we've got some listeners that haven't taken that step of starting their business yet, but they're just dipping their toes in the water and are interested to know, okay, what's it going to take to have a real legitimate business that is not just a more elaborate form of employment.
Exactly. Well, and I think, Dallas, that's a great point, is we have to be honest with ourselves. Do we really have a business, or am I just self-employed? There's nothing wrong with either one. But don't expect to get the results of someone that's established a respectable and responsible business if that's not the direction you wanted to go and the responsibility that you wanted to take on. Value comes from the amount of responsibility that we are willing to accept and handle in anything we do.
Well, give us, because people are trying to make that decision. That's a great point. I mean, because I think conceptually, you think about the concept of having business credit, having that potential line of credit, having that attractiveness to be able to have your business sold at some point if you want to, but it may not be the right decision if you really are self-employed. Like, what are some things that you might want to ask yourself, Lendon, to determine, is this a process that I want to go down? Because we already know the value. If you're working towards established business, obviously you definitely want to do this to mitigate risk. But if you're trying to figure out, am I really self-employed or am I really a business that's trying to be established? Like, what are some questions that you would want to ask yourself or be looking for to determine that answer?
I've got a couple of them. So one is, if something happens to me, then what happens to that business revenue stream? So if you're self-employed and you get sick, then your revenue stream goes to zero. Another question to ask is, what's your end game? What's the end point? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because there are some people that really love what they do and really enjoy doing it and don't want to grow or scale or build a business, and that's okay. But business credit is more important for that person who says, okay, I can bring this product to market, I can scale something and help a lot of people, and eventually I want to retire and I want to step out, cash out, and let someone else run this show. And for those people, business credit is a huge game changer. It's important.
So really, it's basically more like the concept of, if I'm not here, either gone or incapacitated, or where is my business going to continue to function? And if it is, then, or if at least I want it to, then there's where I need to take these measures to help it be its own entity fully by itself, is what you're saying, Dallas. That's a very good, I think that's a really good way of looking at it. We're going to go to our almost last commercial break, our third commercial break. In 15 minutes, we've got our drawing to win a great prize. Lynn just talked about that. Stick around. We're going to come right back, and then we're going to hear from Jim. Jim, I want to talk to you because, as you're setting people on the path to business ownership and having them get set up, lines of credit, whether they're starting personal or business, at what point do you recommend they start building business credit, or is that something that you talk about kind of at the very beginning? So if you'll answer that on the other side of the commercial break, we'll be right back on the North Texas PodConnect.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
A small or large business owner? Do you need insurance to protect your business and help manage risk? If so, then you need to talk to Stephen Pine with Patterson & Associates Insurance. Patterson & Associates offers a wide variety of commercial insurance policies to fit the needs of businesses of all sizes. We understand that every business is different, which is why we offer customized policies to meet all risk management needs. So what are you waiting for? Contact Stephen and Patterson & Associates Insurance today and get the peace of mind that comes with knowing your business is protected. Visit www.piainsure.com or call 972-669-2431 to learn more.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back. Right before the break, we were talking, and I wanted to, Jim, get your idea on what is your process when you're dealing with new business owners or early in the process. A lot of times you may have to use your personal credit to get that first line of credit, that funding that you talked about back in July. But at what point are you saying, hey, we need to get this business credit started to establish that process, et cetera? Or is that something that you kind of do later on down the road?
Yeah, from a pure mindset standpoint, mean, the first thing we look at is, are you buying a job or are you running a business? And as it was mentioned earlier, you want to be running the business, because the business, if you go on vacation or you're away, it will continue to operate and continue to flourish. That's where you're trying to get. Now, most folks, at least the ones that I talk to, when they first get into it, in many ways, they have bought a business or have bought a job with the idea of trying to take it to a business. And I know Lendon's going to talk about some of this next week. I'll kind of touch on just a little bit. But when someone comes for funding and they qualify from a credit score standpoint. Say their credit score is 720 or better. They can almost always, unless there's some underlying things, they can almost qualify for term lending at that point. But if their income is high enough, if their income is six figures, they can automatically qualify for business credit cards, high balance business credit cards, $80,000, $100,000. All they need is an EIN number. And that's the easiest way to start. And then as you start going through this, you try to navigate more toward that. Some folks do a better job than others. But, one of the comments I would make on all of this is, I think I talked about back in July, the philosophy from a business standpoint is you're always looking for money. And the reason you are, there's opportunities out there, there's hiccups out there, there's all kinds of things. And you want to make sure that those funds are readily available. What I like about this particular topic, this is one more avenue for a lot of folks they've not thought about. They'll think about, the personal, but hey, what about the business opportunities? And those things exist. And I'm looking forward to next week's call, because there's a lot in there that we get involved with on business funding that folks can take advantage of. And one quick comment on something that Lendon mentioned early on in the show is about the perks that you can get with this, the rewards. Our consulting firm, we work with a construction group back in the Northeast. And they will, they handle a lot of the new startups. They handle them globally, but they handle them for us domestically. And here's what they do. They will fly out. They're out I think they're in Pittsburgh. They'll fly out to Los Angeles. They'll fly to Dallas. They'll fly to Miami. They'll come on site. They'll do a review. They'll give you a quote. They won't charge you anything for it. And I remember having a conversation with the owner of that business one time. I said, well, how do you do that? What's the secret there? He goes, well, Jim, it's real easy. We have business credit cards. We get air miles on those business credit cards. Those business credit cards have such high volume, and they're spending $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a month. We can do free airfare all day long, and we give it back to our customers. And it's really helped him grow his business. So there really are a lot of opportunities in there, when you really utilize business credit.
That's smart. That's a good way to go about doing it.
Now, sorry, I got distracted thinking about all the travel. That's all the places that I could go. So, Lendon, and I know the giveaway. Talk a little bit more about that, because I want to. We're about 10 minutes away from that giveaway. I'm pretty excited, but it's going to be very helpful, because I think if you don't have business credit, or this is the first time you're probably not the first time you've heard of it, but the first time you've really thought about it and you're listening to this, especially now that we haven't gone through the detailed steps, which are next week, it may be a little daunting or feel like it's overwhelming. And you talked about how you don't need to do that. You don't need to feel that way, but just give us a little bit of ease the tensions, if you will, and talk about how there's help, there's processes that are going to make this kind of a more step-by-step thing as we dive into that. But just maybe the person that's getting like, this is a lot of information, ease their tension a little bit, maybe help them out.
Well, you're right. It is a lot of information. Real quick, though, before I do that, we've got some people watching right now. Make sure, if you want to be in this contest, that you're putting the hashtag business credit. You see it scrolling at the bottom in the comments, Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform that you're on, because we're going to run a drawing in, I guess, the next 6.5 minutes. So Nathan, it does seem overwhelming, mainly because most people do not understand it. They don't have really a lot of information. Biggest mistake that's ever made is kind of what Tara went through. Is you think that it can be done unintentionally, and you have to be intentional. Unfortunately, a lot of people go through and spend a lot of money and miss opportunities because they didn't know and understand. There are ways to go back and retroactively fix that. Tara, we'll talk about that offline some, and I'll help you with that. But just like anything, Nathan, if you don't understand it and you don't know it, you find the person that does, and you find the blueprint and the step-by-step guide that's going to guide you through it. And that's what the business credit roadmap is all about, right? It tells you what business credit is. It tells you all the steps that you have to do in order to even be considered a legitimate business that can qualify for business credit independent of a personal guarantee. And then it also includes the lenders and the vendors and what their qualifications are, what their requirements are, down to contact information, so that you can go out and start establishing it. And it's kind of like eating the elephant, right? You've got to start off small first, right? It may be a Staples account. It may be a Granger account. There's a lot of different, it may be a 60 to 90 day term that you have, and you start building that credit score, that Paydex score that we talked about. You are responsible for getting your Equifax and your Experian account set up. That doesn't just happen automatically just because you have an EIN number. And I'm giving away a lot of what we're going to talk about next week, but hopefully it brings it all together.
I'm sure it'll be beneficial to hear it twice.
It will. And we'll have more graphics about that as well. So, I'm hoping people will give them some visuals. But understand that a business credit file is just like if you were doing it personally, you didn't have one. You have to get it established. You have to go out and, with what Jim does, Jim is that startup, that first line, not to say he can't be utilized differently later on, but it is a great way to seek out startup and start establishing your business credit file. One thing I want to mention with what Dallas said and tying into what Jim said, Dallas, you talked about people that just kind of want to have that be self-employed, don't have a boss. My question to them is always this: are you happy working week to week? Because that's not what you got into business for. That's not why you decided to be self-employed. You had a vision of a future. And that vision can be bigger than what you imagine right now if you understand the opportunities. So it is a very stressful thought to know that you're working for yourself, but you're still just making it week to week. And I'm going to give one more example. Once we've got the contest coming up in just a few minutes, we've only got 2 people. So far, no one has commented business credit.
I'm going to jump in and steal this from y'all. Come on.
So I'm going to give a really vivid scenario in our last 15 minutes. But I want to give an example of where I really started understanding business credit when I was teaching personal credit to real estate agents. I saw real estate agents that had worked for 10, 15, 20 years. And they get ready to retire, and all they got was a gold watch and a pat on the back and a thanks for doing so much work for that broker over the last 20 years. Their clients were gone. They passed them on to someone else, but there was no exchange of revenue for that database. And that's where I started teaching real estate agents how to establish their own brand, their own business structure with business credit as an asset, so that they reduced their personal liability. And when they got ready to retire, they had an asset to sell.
So let me ask this, because and I'm just thinking big picture here because
Nathan, before you do, somebody just put hello business credit. It has to be hashtag business credit.
So if you're not if you're brand new to hashtags, it's the pound sign, just to make sure everybody shift 3 on your keyboard, if you will. So
that made me feel really old. The pound symbol.
Put that out there. Hashtag in all one word. It has to be all together. So hashtag business credit all smushed together, and then that'll.
It's going to be easy picking the winner. Except the winner doesn't have their name in there either, so I don't know how this is going to work.
Well, Lendon, we're going to go to commercial, and then we'll come back and do our drawing. And then I've got one more question for you before we wrap up. So let's hit our last commercial break. We'll come back. We're going to give something away. It's going to be awesome. We're going to give this roadmap away, and you're going to love it. And stick around here. We'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. The North Texas PodConnect is a revolutionary way to network that combines the best of traditional networking with the power of the digital world. By utilizing the power and reach of radio, live streaming, and podcasting, and by leveraging the Difference Media LLC's expansive audience of over 4 million viewers and listeners, PodConnect enables professionals to connect with like-minded individuals, share knowledge and experiences, and build personal brands through a unique approach that opens doors to new opportunities, business relationships, consumers, and community leaders. With 3 levels of participation that include co-hosting, hosting, broadcasting your branded business commercial on our website and your PodConnect show, to being a station sponsor where your commercial plays on all of our network community shows, as well as our new radio station. Combined with done-for-you social media content like Reels and Shorts to expand your brand's visibility and reach, all at a fraction of the cost of one studio rental for a 1-hour podcast recording. So, if making high-level connections with other professionals and the residents of the communities you serve would be an asset to your professional growth and business development, then give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now back to the show.
All righty. Lendon, are you ready to...
I am ready. I don't know how this is going to work because I'm not seeing the names, but we are about to hit it and see what happens. So everybody hold your breath.
Otherwise, I'm going to randomly pick someone.
So it's only showing one entry. So Nathan, you go ahead and randomly. I'll tell you what. There's only 2 of you. If you put your name in the comments, then I'll give it to both people.
Oh. So I'm here. I'm looking on the live stream online, and I know we've got...
Who do we... Are you seeing it, Nathan?
I see... Well, I'm on Facebook, so I see Charles Barnaby.
Okay.
And that's the only person I see that's not one of our members. You don't get him. You don't get it if you're cheating. I also see... Actually, I do see Dallas Jones. He sounds familiar. That guy sounds familiar.
That dude? Where? What?
So yeah, he's buying it for his wife.
Tara, did you put your name in there? You're muted.
I just did right now, but so I did notice that you don't have it to where you can share it.
Yeah. So all right, so we got 3 names. So here's what I'm going to do this time only. I'm going to give it to our 2 guests and Charles Barnaby, who is also going to be one of the co-hosts on the new Rockwall show.
Awesome.
So I feel generous today. I'm going to give it to all 3 since we couldn't get this to work for
everybody. Check under your seat. Everybody check under your seat. You get a roadmap. Everybody
gets a roadmap. Jim, do you want a roadmap too?
You know what? I'll take all the help I can get.
Amen.
Great point.
Every time you say roadmap, all I think of is the old Rand McNally Atlas that I used to use back.
Now you're really old.
I just turned 40.
What was the old Dallas map that they used to have? What was that called?
The Mapsco.
The Mapsco.
Yeah. Yeah,
My
I am
boss did-
old.
My old boss said something one day. We were looking up directions for something, and he was like, I'm going to use an MAP. And I was like, it took me a second. I was like, a map. Okay.
Oh.
He's like, nobody
It's an
ever uses
acronym?
MAP anymore. It's just GPS.
Right.
Oh, man. Well, Lendon, tease us out for next week, and then we'll wrap up shortly here. We'll give everybody a chance to talk a little more in depth about their business. Before we do that, give us a heads up on what we're going to talk about next week.
Well, we're going to talk about the steps that you take. All right. There's 10 steps. There's a few more, but 10 are critical. And that's really what we're going to focus on. I'm not going to talk about everything that's in the roadmap, but I'm going to talk about the 10 most important things that you have to do, or the other ones won't matter.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to go into a little bit more depth, why they're important. Probably won't be telling you how to do it, but we are going to be telling you what to do.
Well, that's good, because people need the practical, like, what is my action step? Because that's, as I'm thinking through this too, not being close to an expert on the topic, I'm like, okay, well, what's step one? So I know that's going to be very helpful for people.
It is. And before we go, and before everybody else starts to talk, I want to talk a little bit about the scenario that I think can make people understand why it's so important. I'm going to give you two scenarios, same business model, right? One's with business credit, one's without business credit. One business is using total personal credit to fund their business and gain funding for the business. The other one is established business credit. So imagine that you're the entrepreneur of a software development company and you're relying on your personal credit and assets to secure financing for your business. Unfortunately, some unforeseen market challenge, COVID, something like that happens. Here's what happens. Your personal credit score will be negatively impacted as you've taken on personal debt for your business. Your personal assets that you use as collateral are at risk. Restarting a new business, if that one goes belly up because of whatever situation, is almost impossible because you now have damaged credit. You do not have access anymore to find funding. Not only that, you're not looked at favorably by potential investors if that's the route that you needed to go to. You then also have to address the process of addressing your personal liabilities and the liabilities you took on for your business while trying to manage and keep the assets that you currently have, right? Your house, all those things. So that's number one. Here's number two. If you're in the same situation, but you had business credit established and you had your personal credit file insulated from liability. No, it remains unaffected because your business has its own credit history. Your business assets and liabilities are separate, so there is no recourse to come after any of your personal assets. You, your family, your 800 credit score, whatever it may be, are still intact. You are still just as solid as you were before you ever went into business. Now, here's the kicker. You remember at the beginning of the show when I told you only have one personal credit file?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can have as many business credit files as you want. So now the person that went belly up because of whatever tragedy can go out, go through the steps that the roadmap talks about, rebuild personal or business credit, and start all over. How many of you, and we're not going to get political here, but I love using this example. How many of you listened to Donald Trump during election time talking about the 4 businesses that he went bankrupt in?
I remember.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
But it didn't affect him. It didn't affect him personally. It didn't affect his other businesses. You could have 10 businesses with all business credit files, go bankrupt in 5 of them, and those other 5 are just as solid today as they were yesterday. I'm not recommending that. But again, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
So don't try to bankrupt your business, is what you're saying.
Well, no, but if that were to ever happen, how many businesses went bankrupt during COVID? Beyond control. They had no control whatsoever. They were told they could not generate revenue any longer. Well, how do you pay bills if you can't generate revenue? If I've got a business with business credit, I shut it down. I file bankruptcy. That's on the government. They created that problem. I didn't. I then can go back as my safety net, use my personal credit because that score's still good, get in contact with Jim Thomas, get funding, start a brand new business when COVID is over, and I'm solid again.
Interesting.
Much, much quicker. When you're looking at a collapsed personal credit score, you're looking at 24 to 36 months before you get back to where you actually can operate a business with using your personal credit score.
Well, speaking of time frame too, I know along with the steps next week, are you going to touch on just how quickly this process can occur where you can start to establish workable credit if you're following the necessary steps?
Yeah, but I'll do a spoiler alert right now. It depends on how quickly you follow the blueprint.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of people that will go out and establish their LLC. They'll go get a bank account and an EIN number, and then they stop. You've got to go through the process. The quicker that you go through the process, the quicker it happens. So could it be 6 months? Yes. Could it be 36 months? Yes. I've seen it happen. I've seen an 80 paydex score go from 0 to 80 in 6 to 7 months.
That's amazing. So really, you can actually affect it if you're following the steps. You can affect it generally quicker than your personal credit.
Generally quicker than your personal credit. Now, here's a caveat to that. If you have an excellent personal credit score that you want to co-sign for your business and building business credit, you can do it in 2 to 3 months.
Okay, so that's like rapid fire.
Now, so here's how much time we got. I just want to say this. My recommendation, if you ever go that route, use your personal credit, build your business credit score, refinance that personal debt into your business, and get out of the responsibility of that personal debt as quickly as you can.
Well, as we wrap up here, we're going to kick it over to Tara, owner of Texan Window Cleaning. Open a window for us, if you will, and a little more into your business, pun intended. Tell us a little about what you're about, 30 seconds on that, then we're going to hit Dallas, and we'll wrap up here with Jim as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nathan. So again, I'm Tara Padilla, owner and operator of Texan Window Cleaning. We are your residential and commercial window cleaners, pressure washers, and gutter cleaners all throughout the Metroplex. We have been in business for 6 years. We've got over 200 5-star reviews on Google. We're on all social media platforms where you can actually go and look at our videos and see the transformations that we're able to make. We love working with realtors, maid companies, roofing companies, homeowners, pretty much anyone with windows, which is pretty much everyone.
Well, yeah, that's especially as we get into the rainy season where windows get a lot dirtier. So that's going to be very, very important. Dallas, what do you got for us? Thanks for being on today. It was nice talking with you. I think you're muted. You're muted. But you look great.
That would
you
help.
look great talking. You look great talking. So.
Awesome. So I'm Dallas Jones. I'm CEO and founder of Rementus. We are an IT firm. We specialize in computer repairs for small businesses. And we also have a department where we do memory recollection, where we take old VHSs, old DVDs, cassettes, even reel-to-reel, old photography and film, and we put that on modern formats so that you can enjoy it on new stuff and not have to hold on to that old VHS player and VCR deck.
Well, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, I am Nathan Smith.
With your Mapsco.
Yeah, with your Mapsco. Your Betamax.
If you got Nathan's jokes, it's time to take your vitamins.
That's right. That's right. Dinner will be served at 4. So... my name is Nathan Smith. Pleasure to be hosting the show. I have a passion for helping people escape the corporate prison. If you're thinking, man, I'd love to learn more about business credit, but I have a job right now, which is really holding me back. I want to teach you how to get that job, something in the past, escape the corporate prison, have a business that you can build and grow and leave to your family, right? That you can actually, hey, I can work towards establishing some business credit. If you're tired of the salary of the corporate job, I want to have a conversation with you. Jim Thomas, wrap us up for us for today, and then we'll be off to next week.
You bet. Thank you. I appreciate it. And, for you folks who are looking to open a new business, we can help provide funding for between $50,000 and $400,000. Core criteria, 680 credit score in all 3 credit bureaus, and minimum 50,000 income each of the 2 previous years. And then for you folks that already have a business, you're looking for business funding, business financing, we'll tell you more about that next week.
Well, guys, thank you very much, Jim. As always, Lendon doing double duty today, producing and providing fantastic comment. Dallas Jones, Tara Padilla from the Wiley Community Difference. Great questions from our audience today. Stick around. Part 2 of credit. Business credit will be next Wednesday, same time, 11:30. You guys have a blessed week. We'll see you then.
Thank you for tuning in and watching our show. If you would like to see our next show, or more shows like this one, just click the QR code and go to show schedules, or just follow and subscribe to our channels to get updates and notifications of this show, and many others like it.